All right, so name and army.
Kevin Spear, Ogre Kingdoms.
What was the most dynamic moment of your game? This is round 2.
It had to be the top of turn 2 when my Mornfang cavalry failed their 4 or more charge in the flank of his gore, and then failed it again in the 3rd turn, and could not help with that combat.
Let me just get this straight. Yep. 2 4-inch charges, missed. With Swift Stride.
With Swift Stride, yes.
The dice gods did not look upon you fairly.
The dice gods did not look upon me very nicely.
Well,
no.
What would be a stellar moment in the game for you?
The stellar moment had to be when the Slaughtermaster was trying to flee away from his lovely Gorgon, rolled double 1s, and then the Gorgon only rolled a 1 due to his Minotaur roll. That was some quality gameplay right there.
Fantastic.
All part of it, yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing a little bit. We'll come back maybe at the end of round 3, see if your dice warm up a little bit more.
There we go, hopefully.
All right. So if you could give me your name and what army you've been playing.
My name's Will Bond. I've been playing my Nurgle Demons with Epidemius. Cheesiest thing here, probably. One of, anyway.
Has anybody been complaining about Epidemius?
Not to my face.
And how has poison been working for you in the game then?
Oh, amazing. It's ridiculous. You take the Herald with the 5+ poison and then all the buffs, it's ridiculous. It's especially when you hide behind a building, they can never touch them.
So what was the most catastrophic thing that happened to him today so far?
Probably, actually, that last game, the guy took a big unit of trolls. Because he had Doom Divers, I put Epi in a unit, so they couldn't be singled out. Charged the trolls at him, touching with 3 or 4, as much as he could. Did all of his attacks for 2 or 3 rounds and only got him down to 1 wound. Then they broke, and I just wiped them off the map.
Ooh, I gotta put some gaffer's tape down, or somebody's gonna kill my mic. Awesome. And oh, by the way, how did you do in the round? Did you win it?
Oh yeah, full points.
Oh, full points. Wow, your cheesy list is working.
So far, yeah. Cheesy list, be a that's all you need. It's a victory.
100% correct.
Fantastic. All right, well, good luck on the next round.
Perfect, thank you.
If you could give us your name and the army you've been playing.
Warriors of Chaos, George O'Connell, also known as GOC.
And what was the most surprising thing that happened in your game in the last game?
One game I was a bug, one game I was a windshield, so massacred.
I like the bug analogy. Very nice.
Trust me, I was getting smashed like a bug.
And what was the most impressive thing you saw your opponent do in your game?
He flew into Denmark, from Denmark to kick and he totally wiped me out.
So
that was impressive. He came all the way to Denmark, then wiped me off the table.
He traveled 3,000 miles just so he could smash you.
Oh, yeah. He said that I was his worst opponent he's ever played against. It was too easy, he said.
Well, it's nice to know that international people are willing to come over and be insulting. And we always think of it as Americans going over there and being...
You know what? I'm just trying to live up to being the bad guy.
But it was still a fun game?
Oh, it was fantastic. Both opponents were great guys, so had a lot of fun with both games.
All right.
Definitely coming back again. Free food, people. Great spot. They're doing a great job here at the Unplugged.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, good luck on the next game.
Take it easy.
All right.
USA! USA!
So if you could just give us your name and the army you've been playing.
All right, my name's Pat Hill. I've played Dark Elves. Just finished round 2.
All right, and what was the most important thing your Dark Elves did in the last game?
Wow, they didn't do much of any value. I made a key March block test at one point to knock off a wound on some bloodletters, but that's about it.
Oh, so you were playing demons?
Yes.
Okay.
Playing MSU demons. Lovely army, absolutely gorgeous army. It was a lot of fun to play against, but just nothing went right, you know?
Actually, it is kind of interesting. We don't see MSU armies very much anymore. Do you think that's something specific that demons can pull off and nobody else?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the variety of tools that they have lots of different options, lots of different magic choices, and even though they're small units, you got to kill them, essentially to the man, or else they'll just pass their instability test. I mean, they're not fleeing or suffering from panic like a normal MSU army. So yeah.
Were there any specific, unusual units or compositions in the army to handle the MSU style?
Yeah, he was running Fiends of Slanesh. You don't see them too often. I think they're a great MSU unit. 3 models. They're movement 10, I think, with Swift Stride and Initiative 6 and all sorts of other special things, so they can get across the board pretty good. The rest of the stuff was fairly standard, units of 14 or 15 of each god and a couple of spellcasters, but good stuff.
So actually, it sounds kind of diversified, so it wasn't strictly, okay, absolutely. Which actually seems to be the trend now anyway for demons.
Yeah, no, it's fun army, and Luke was a great guy. We had a ton of fun, but,
And it was attractive, and it's really nice to play against a beautiful army.
Absolutely, yep.
All right, well, thank you very much.
No problem.
All right, good luck on round 3.
Thanks.
All right, so I'm here with, name and army?
James McFarland, Dark Elves.
All right, and what was the most significant event your Dark Elves pulled off in that last game?
They managed to deal with the Dwarf gun line and not get wiped out. So that was a fantastic turn of event for Dark Elves, especially since I'm running the Twin Towers. So 2 Witch Elf units with Cauldrons of Blood.
Yeah, I saw that actually. I don't know. There might be one more army here with twin cauldrons. Yeah. And what kind of synergy does having 2 on the table really provide?
With that and the Blackguard of Nagaron, they're all low strength, but with Lure of Shadow, you get Occam's Mindrazor. So 3 units that pretty much reroll to hit and reroll to wound everything. And the Witch Elves with the Cauldron of Blood, I think, are the meanest Death Star in the game. I haven't really found a melee unit that they won't wipe off the table yet.
Right, because they're getting 3 attacks with the extra frenzy from the Cauldron, right?
No, they're getting 3 attacks from their base frenzy.
I'm sorry, right, they're getting 4.
Yeah, 4 attacks with the extra frenzy from the Cauldron. And then Cry of War, which is the Death Hag's ability, gives the opponent has to take a fear test at -3. So then they're basically weapon skill 1. So the witches are putting out 60 attacks, hitting on 3s, rerolling all misses, and then they're strength 9, so they're usually wounding on 2s, rerolling all failed wounds. So they do an average of 40 wounds with no armor saves.
Who knew ladies wearing thongs could dish out that kind of pain?
Chainmail bikini, that's where it's at.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck on the next round.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we're here with
Kevin Coleman. How are you?
Your army is?
I'm playing goblins.
And
no orcs. No orcs, just goblins.
Straight up goblins. How many Doom Divers?
2 Doom Divers.
Okay.
Yep.
How have they been working out for you?
Oh, great. Well, first game they killed on turn 1. They destroyed a whole unit of 10 Cold One Knights and wounded the Dreadlord and wounded another character in there. So,
was your opponent crying after that?
He was crying, yes. And then I ended up killing the Dreadlord and the BSB in turn 2. But then in turn 3, they both misfired and were destroyed. So I think that balanced out.
Not in points, but at least in moral victory for your opponent.
Yeah, exactly.
And what was the most dynamic thing that happened in Game 2?
Game 2 is I played Nurgle Epidemius.
Oh.
I tried to kill him. I failed, and I was completely and utterly destroyed.
So, sort of a tit for tat. You get the taste of beautiful victory and then the sheer crushing defeat.
Exactly.
Nice. And so, what do you look forward to in round 3?
Round 3? No, just another good game. Hopefully not Nurgle Demons, that's all.
Awesome. Well, maybe we'll come back and check it out and see how round 3 went.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
So I'm here with Jeff Egan, one of our fellow Unplugged gamers, actually an integral part of the overall crew. And today Jeff is doing paint judging, but also his vast repository of knowledge for the rules, I'm sure, has also come into play during the event.
Occasionally. I've been flagged over, and whenever I'm a little confused or something I haven't refreshed recently, I just call Peyton or John, and they're right on the spot. So, just to have another body in another spot while I'm doing paint judging, it comes up occasionally.
So, as you've been walking around the tables, have you seen any players having a difficult, emotional time in the middle of their games?
You mean crying and mourning the loss of their armies? Yeah, a little bit of that. But
well, crying is better than throwing dice across the room. We haven't seen anything like that.
No. I mean, and the players in the Northeast are pretty respectable. Everyone's here to have a good time, and we haven't had any incidents of that nature yet. Nothing at all, really. I've actually noticed everyone just seemed to have a really good time, laughing, joking, taking everything in stride. It's been a lot of fun.
And has there been any suggestions for improvements at this point from anybody?
I haven't gotten much yet. I had a brief conversation about composition restrictions with one of the players last night when we were just grabbing a bite to eat. And I mentioned a possibility of us sending out a little survey afterward to get a little bit more data from the field. My sense is that the people are pleased overall. There might be recommendations for changes, but then that might be there might be a lot of noise there, and that some people want it one way, some people another, and we can't please everyone 100%. You know?
Yeah, comp is always a difficult thing, and nobody's ever really happy about it. But well, I shouldn't say nobody, but I mean everybody is never happy. But it was interesting that we let in the Wood Elf book, which was a pretty new release.
New.
Not a lot of GTs do that.
Right. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
How did people feel about that?
I think they were excited. We actually only have 4 Wood Elf players. We expected a little bit more, given that we were allowing it. But I think some players like to test out a list a few times before they bring it to a grand tournament. Right. Other players like to test it out at a grand tournament. So we have a couple players who are bringing it. Most of them have played in a lot of GTs with Wood Elves, so they just kind of graduated to the new book, but don't have to change their playstyle hugely. Just the minor tweaks of the book are helping them do a little bit better than they have in the past, I think.
That's what I was going to say. Do you feel like the new book has really given them at least a better competitive edge in the game?
I think that the book fixed some stuff that we actually had been fixing in the tournament scene anyhow. Stuff like an automatic ward save for Dryads, though it went up to a 6+ in the new edition. They get it no matter what, even if it's magic. Things like ASF, which all the elves have been getting in their books lately. So stuff like that. We had been modifying for our tournament, but this year it was nice that we could just lean on the Games Workshop book and let them do all the heavy lifting. So we just allowed it in as it stands.
All right, and one last thing is you're going to be running the one of the Triumph and Treachery games the end of this evening, and anything you're looking forward to in those?
I'm looking forward to that game more than the entire weekend, and I've had at least one player come up to me. I won't say his name, but it's Kevin Coleman, who said he was looking more forward to the Triumph and Treachery than to the 5 tournament games, which lightens my heart a little bit because I put a lot of thought and effort into it. I know Greg did as well. He's running another table. And I think the Triumph and Treachery game this evening is going to be an expression of what we can do as a game club for our grand tournament. We've already put a lot of thought and effort into the terrain and kind of a professional management of an organization of the games. But this is going to be an opportunity to have a little bit of fluff, have players throwing some dice, having a good time. Everyone's been warned beforehand that this is just totally fun. It's not going to be a testament to who's the best general. It's going to be a testament to who's going to have the most fun throwing some dice around, seeing what happens with their toys, being deviant and tricking each other and bribing. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
I'm playing in it, and this is only the second game I think I've played in a year, so I'm looking forward to it. It's because it's the kind of game that can pull in the non-serious player who can sit back and enjoy the game with a bunch of friends and throw some dice around in a non-stressful way.
And you said last time you played it that it was one of the most fun games you'd had in a while. I think
actually,
it meets your play style quite a bit. I mean, I created a scenario where there's going to be giants and buildings defending against the onslaught that's coming at them, wizards and towers casting spells who can also be bribed. It's just going to be a lot of fun. It's very RPG meets Warhammer kind of game, so it's going to be a blast.
All right, well, I know I'm looking forward to it, and I just want to thank you for sharing here. Maybe we can get a little wrap up maybe after the Triumph and Treachery game, and we can all stagger around and wipe the bleary-eyed, beer-induced haze from us. And Campari. All right. Well, I'll talk to you then.
Yeah, pleasure.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. So I'm here with Greg, who's another integral part of the Unplugged Gamer crew, and also been doing some paint judging for today. Yep. And what I'm most curious about is what you've thought about the painting quality at this event compared to, say, last year's event.
It's a great question. There's actually, I'd have to look at the specific numbers, but I think there might be more new players this year than there are returning players, which is not something I was expecting, but is something that's pretty cool. There's also a lot of people that I've never seen before at GTs, like a lot of faces I didn't recognize. So it's there's definitely some really top-tier stuff out there, and some of it was things we were expecting, and some of it has been, this came out of nowhere. Like, we didn't know this person even existed before they showed up.
What was a particular army that came out of nowhere for you that really stood out?
Well, one of the armies that I really like is the all Tzeentch-themed Warriors army. that we had seen some pictures beforehand because he has some custom, like, converted models.
Could you describe like the overall model theme for that army?
Yeah, so it's a Warriors of Chaos army, but it's all Tzeentch themed, and everything has avian heads and has like bright blue to purple transition on things, like with wings and nice yellow beaks. Like, it really, when you look at it,
he's
really
taken a lot of like eagles and right. That's the army you're thinking of.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So it's all birds flying for the most part, and then the the characters are all sort of. Upright, birds, beefed out with wings and stuff. And it has a really dynamic look as well.
Yep. Another army that really jumped out at me as being pretty awesome was Chris Haynes from Canhammer, who brought his dwarfs down. And I'd seen he's been working on them for a while. I've seen the pictures on Twitter. This is definitely like he's taken a step up in painting. So, I mean, it's really nice. It's not going to be the award-winning army, but it's really cool, and it touches close to home because he's got this big horde of 30 Slayers, and they're awesome. And he got the color right for his highlights on the orange beards, and they just really jump out on the table.
It's really nice to see people come back year after year and have them continuing working on their armies, so you see it getting better each time you see them at the GT.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, thank you very much, and we'll probably check in after the Triumph and Treachery, and I'll get your opinion on how your table ran.
Excellent, great, thank you.
All right, talk to you. All right, so if you could give our fantastic audience your name and what army you're playing.
Corey Walliser, and I'm playing Warriors of Chaos.
And what was one of the most surprising events that occurred in your last game?
Making 4 first-turn charges, and making my opponent very sad by that.
So, I'm trying to envision how that's possible. Apparently, your opponent decided the best thing to do was to run at you.
Yes, 15-15 deployment zones. He goes first, he moves up, and then I'm like, okay, charge, get into combat, and it went down south from then.
And was he able to mentally recover from the first turn to rally his troops?
No, not really, no. all the important stuff got into combat, and then... he couldn't shoot me with skinks. He couldn't do anything, so it just got ground down, and
oh, lizard men?
Yes, and double demon prince is what I'm running. So they get in, and they do terrible, awful things, and they shouldn't be allowed.
And how does this last game compare to your first game, would you say?
It was much more one-sided. The first game was real tight against VC. He had a vampire on a zombie dragon, which is awesome. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then we got in a big scrum, and it came down to breaking, and I lucked out, and it was my turn, so I got to choose the combat. We both broke in the same turn, but I got mine first, so that's what the big swing was.
Okay, interesting. And even though you mercilessly crushed your opponent in the last game, did you see any spots where you made mistakes that he didn't capitalize on?
I think everything kind of went the way I thought it was. I overextended a little bit, but because Warriors of Chaos are so grinder heavy that it's, lizard men fight well, just not. Mark of Nurgle block has a hard time,
Mark of Nurgle
yes.
block. All right. Well, we'll check back in a little bit later in the tournament, see if your grossness continues to win you games.
Hope so. Thank you.
All right. So I was wondering if you could give us your name and the army you're playing.
Mike Rossi with Wood Elves.
And I'm unaware that you are a member of the Shambling Horde.
Yes. That is true.
Some people were mentioning that you're not wearing a Shambling Horde shirt today. Is there any reason why?
I left it on my couch at home before I came.
Better than leaving your army home.
Yes.
So I was wondering, what was the one moment in your recent game? We just completed round 4. What was the one moment in your game where you went...
Oh, the whole turn 1. I was playing against Will Paul and his demons, and it's a Wall and Nurgle list with Epidemius, and it was bad. The first round was bad. He got to go first, and I failed all my leadership checks the first. Everything was going bad, and then turn 3, I had a real lucky run of dice. To be honest, played for and got kind of a thing. So I had 4 Wild Riders charge. Well, going to charge the skill cannon. Skill cannon the turn before had moved up, grape shot, misfire. So it was nice. I had the Moonstone, and he had forced me to teleport to the wood next to the skill cannon. So if I didn't clear it out,
It was going to charge out to you.
Yeah, it was going to destroy my bunker. It was all going to be bad, but it all worked out. Played for and got, so I got a lot of luck. Made a couple mistakes because I'm not playing.
Are you telling me that you actually beat this army?
I did, 14-10.
The filthy Epidemius army. We had a little chat yesterday about that army, so that's a significant achievement.
Well, I mean, listen, it's luck in a way. There's some luck that goes into this, but you play to get the odds in your favor, which was good. And then also, it's a question of matchups. He wants to fight me, and I have an army that if it doesn't want to fight, can just run around and shoot. And I mean, I don't. This is going to sound stupid from a Wood Elf player, but I don't like doing that the entire game. I have elements of my army that like to fight, but for this, once he got the tally up, I was like, I can't touch that. I can't touch anything. So I had to treat all his units as if they're radioactive.
Well, actually, that kind of fits for a Nurgle theme.
It totally does. Right?
Awesome. And so, are you? Who are you going to play round 5? Do you know yet?
I don't know. But
what army would you be hoping to face for round 5?
I don't know. At this stage of the game, listen, I don't belong up here, right? I belong in the mid tables down. I don't know. I'll play.
I think you're being a little modest. Last year, you did win Complete Hobbyist, which is an overall roundabout. You are good at the game in all factors.
Yeah, but when it comes to battle, I finished like 9th, right? And I was on a tear the whole first day. So we'll see. Okay. I'm happy with anybody. You know what I mean? Right. It's as long as the guy's cool. I don't care taking a whooping as long as the guy's cool. So I was real happy actually to play Will because we played years ago at the Canadian GT. Back when GW used to run them, and that was a good game. Oh, so it's been 9 years since we've actually rolled dice against each other, so it was cool,
Nice. Yeah. All right, well, maybe we can catch up after round 5 and see how it all wrapped up.
We'll see.
All right.
It'll just be crying, it'll be tears. And then he did this to me, it was awful.
I'll be taking some photos of the award ceremony, so maybe we'll get at least a photo of you somewhere along the way.
I have to touch up my mascara, it'll be good.
All right, thanks. All right, so if you could give us your name and the army you're currently playing.
Garrett Peterson, I'm playing Lizardmen.
And what was the moment of greatest shine for your Lizardmen in that last game?
The last game? It wasn't much to be proud of there.
They had to have a shining moment, even if it was a lucky die roll.
No, when the Chimera charged unit skinks and broke its ankle and died on the forest after the stand and shoot reaction. That was... It was not a proud game for the Lizards last game.
Well, it does sound like maybe Lustria came to your aid on that.
Yes, Lustria came to my aid. Not so much the army, but Lustria itself was like, no, we don't like these guys. They smell funny.
And so we just completed round 4. So which round would you say then was your best round?
My best round was round 3. Round 3.
Who were you playing? What army?
Drew's vampire counts. I must have made like 45 poisons. It was bad for him. It was kind of awesome for me.
Nice. And always the eternal mystery. How do you poison the undead?
Maybe like holy water or something. I don't know.
Nobody's ever said holy water before. I like that.
Now, the better question is where the Lizardmen are getting the holy water. That's the important question.
They have one of the ancient slans, bless it.
Yeah, it's a slop sweat.
All right, fantastic. Well, good luck next round.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. So if you could give us your name and the army you're playing.
My name's Drew Casertino, and I played Vampire Counts.
And what was the moment in the game where the most of your army crumbled at one moment?
Well...
And by crumble, I mean in combat as well, unless you lost your lord, in which case we could talk about that.
It was more shooting round coming in. I got a rock dropped on my BSB, who does not have a ward save. Oh. And he failed his lookout, sir, in the Black Knight unit. Oh. So he disappeared. And then on the charge in the following turn, I lost all of the Black Knights, and the Vampire took 2 wounds. So that's pretty much the end of the game for me.
What turn was that?
That was turn 4.
Oh, all right.
Pretty much the rest of the army had been whittled down at that point. The Crypt Ghouls were gone. The Vargeists were gone. So
up into what looked like a shining moment to come in turn 1 or 2.
There wasn't a shining moment for that game. That was a bad game from the initial start when my other vampire that's flying charged a pump wagon and failed to kill it on the charge. 1 wound with Red Fury, and nothing happened. So he got charged by the Wyvern War Boss, and that was kind of setting the pace for turns 2 through 4, where it just ended.
All right. Well, what army would you be hoping to face in the next game, the last game of the event?
Anything that is not a shooting army. I like just rolling dice in combat. The most fun I had today. Well, actually, it was yesterday. Was Tomb Kings, because it was just get in each other's face. We're not running, so it's just beat until there's nothing there. There wasn't much left on the table by the end of that game, so that's what I like.
And what would be your opinion of the overall event in general?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'd say it's equal to Crossroads for me, and that's probably my favorite venue. So that's putting you guys up there.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Good luck on Game 5.
Thank you very much.
All right. So if you could give us your name and the army you're playing.
Tom Minter, Demons of Chaos.
And
Bloodthirster.
Oh, running a Bloodthirster. So in that last game, what would you say was the most dynamic moment, the turning point, if you will?
Well, I don't know if there was a singular turning point. So with this game, it was very much he had another Demons list, but more avoidance. So what ended up happening was he had way more movement than I did, but in the end, the Bloodthirster actually came in handy. His high movement ended up actually getting into combat so that normally no one else could have, and he managed to avoid getting killed by a Skull Cannon. So
if he can avoid the cannon, he's a big enough bad boy to pick up those small units all by himself.
What's fascinating is he only fought other units of Khorne.
That is interesting. That is interesting. And I was seeing this, sort of a traditional MSU unit. Army for demons, and it's something we haven't really seen a lot of in 8th edition. The sort of MSU style. So, how do you feel it stacks up against some of the other games that you've played?
Well, we're both kind of semi-MSU. He's got a bunch of little blocks. I just have smaller blocks than one major block. The one difficulty is, of course, when you run into something like a Witch Elf horde that has so many attacks. I have nothing that really can get in there except for getting a flank and getting a really good kind of combo charge. So overall, it's working. The difficulty, honestly, surprisingly with demons, is actually the leadership. Because if you're doing multiple different gods, you're basically testing on 7s or maybe 8s for almost everything involving instability, break tests, you're not getting rerolls. So it's almost like having panic checks back when you wouldn't expect it normally with an immune to psychology army.
Interesting. And so, how does this game stack up to the other games you've had so far in the event?
This one was fantastic. This was down to the wire, last turn, Reign of Chaos table ended up making it from a draw to a minor victory. 200 points.
All right. Nice. All right. Well, good luck on round 5.
Thanks, sir.
All right. So, could you start us off with your name and the army you're playing?
My name is Keith Conroy, and I'm playing Dwarfs.
And what was the moment in your last game, that's the end of round 5, where you went, bam, like that, like, yes?
Well, I had that moment turn 1. He had his giant block of Temple Guard with the Slann in it, opposite of my hammers, and turn 1 I charged it, and did about 30 wounds, and wiped the unit.
Not only is that a significant combat, but a remarkable one in that you got a turn 1 charge with dwarves. How did that happen?
A little bit of that, actually. Yeah, that's all it takes. Trust me, it's all you need.
Interesting. Now in the background, probably not on mic here, there's a group indicating that your hammer block may be a filthy choice, something to that effect. Is that true?
It may or may not be. There's only 30, so they die pretty easy, but if you give them a good charge, they can be a glass cannon.
Well, it's nice to hear a dwarf, the player that's actually eager to get into a scrum rather than just sit behind all the guns and pow, pow, pow.
That's true, especially when you have as many poison attacks in that list. I wanted to be in combat as soon as possible against the Lizardmen. But I had a great opponent, he was fantastic to play against. Really, really nice gentleman, hosts a great GT, so looking forward to more experiences. So.
All right, fantastic. Well, good luck in round 5.
Thank you very much.
Round 5. All right, so maybe you could start us off with your name and the army you're playing.
Corey Wallizer, I'm playing Warriors of Chaos.
And what would be a significant turning point in the last game that you played?
Not being able to kill 5 dogs with a Demon Prince of Nurgle.
It's hard to know how to respond to that.
4 ones to hit, and then 1 for Thunderstomp means you don't break them. And then when they roll 2 for their leadership, they stay and he hangs out. It's great.
Well, at least they didn't run you down.
Well, true. Yeah, I didn't lose.
It can get worse than that.
It can. Well, Demon Prince never run, so it was gonna stay.
of course,
He was
sorry.
gonna stand there. Yeah. Looking sheepish. Just. Did I? No one saw that, right? It's good.
And so there must have been a significant moment where you really felt like I got something here that worked well.
No. That last game, nothing went right for me. First turn, both Hell Cannons misfired. One blew up. Then he rampaged. Rolled a 1 to wound on the one turn. I did hit his Demon Prince with the Hell Cannon. Yeah, nothing went right for me. Failed charges. It was horrendous.
And normally, you might, give somebody a hard time about blaming their dice, but actually, in this instance, it does sound like the dice were the problem.
The dude just kept apologizing. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. He's like, that. Wow, that's terrible. I'm like, I know. I'm very terrible. And I mean, it was going to be a tough list anyway. He's got a lot more fat. He had more speed than I did. So I'm like, okay, trying to play a little defensive. And then when shit went south, it went really south, and that was all I had.
So, what would be a game earlier in this event where you had a little bit better luck on the dice?
Both the first two games worked out real well. I didn't have great dice, but I had average dice. And the joy of Warriors Chaos is the stat line gives me enough where as long as I get average dice, I'm in good shape. Where the game 3, I had okay dice, and it was real tight right up until some stuff happened, and I played Will Paul, so he's been a juggernaut until Rossi just clipped him a little bit, but yeah.
All right, and if you had one army that you'd enjoy facing for the final round, what would that be?
The only one not high elves. Other than I'm pretty good against fighting anybody else, but the big Banner of the World Dragon and stuff. I have a lot of magic attacks that ignore that. So.
All right, so I'll make sure and talk to the TO. Make sure you get matched up with a high elf.
Excellent, sweet, thank you.
All right,
Mike.
thanks a lot. Yeah. All right, so maybe you could start us off with your name and the army you're playing.
Sure, my name is Awash Guy, and I played Orcs and Goblins.
And how did the last game go? Did the Orcs give you all of the oomph that they're supposed to be known for?
They gave me none of the oomph that they're known for. My last game went horribly. That was a bad game.
But was there a triumph moment in it, though, where even though you were behind the 8 ball, that you still were managing to make one shot that felt really satisfying?
Well, felt really satisfying when the game ended. No, I'm sorry. My last game was really bad. The rest of the games have been really good. Honestly, every other game I've had has been really tactical and fun. This last game was just a case of everything not working.
Gotcha.
But yeah. I mean, the opponent was nice. He was consolidatory. His army wasn't, which is not something you can blame him for. But yeah, it was a good guy and not a great game.
Okay. Yeah. All right, and now you have 2 armies here that are amongst the best painted. You're modest about them, but really they're absolutely stellar. And what I was curious about is you've actually allowed somebody to play with your high elves.
Demons, yeah.
Oh, demons. Yeah. And how do you feel about having somebody else handling your army for an event like this?
Well, it's a little defeating because he's doing better at it with it than I am, but. No, I mean, I've known Lee for 6-7 years now. He's in my club. I trust him with an army. If it's someone that I trust and if someone that I know is going to, has a respect for the models, has a respect for the paint jobs, then I would want them to use, I don't mind them using my armies. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah, it's not the norm to see that, but it does show that you have a lot of trust. Everybody takes extra care.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, you're off camera. Anyway, people, everybody's army is sort of their baby, so it's nice that you're willing to share.
Yeah, I mean, it's also mostly plastic, so if it doesn't ding too badly. No, but there's some people that I would rather not use my armies, but Lee, I've seen Lee play his game. He has a respect for the game, so it's fine. Yeah.
All right, and it sounds like he's playing it pretty well as well.
Yeah, he's playing it tightly.
All right, well, good luck on Game 5. All right. We're here with John Vanas, who is the leader of the Unplugged Gamers, really, somebody we sometimes refer to as Dad because of his unwavering guidance and basically the backbone of putting this event together. So I wanted to get a chance to have him.
You were my first children.
I'm the first son. So how do you think things have been going?
I think it's been going spectacular, really. Smooth, very smooth. I blame it on superior planning. And,
obsessive planning.
Spreadsheets for the win. But no, it's been great. Everything's been going really smooth. We had very little issues here and there. Take care of them. And I think it shows. A bunch of people have come up and said, wow, this is going really smoothly.
And it's been nice to have a bit of staff here as well in terms of having multiple unplugs, helping out. I did notice that a couple of the club members are playing in the event themselves.
Yeah, so we were going for a certain level of staffing. We wanted coverage on certain jobs, but we didn't want to have too much coverage. We figured, we have enough players, we have enough people in our club. Well, some of them can play. But I think we have a very appropriate level of staffing this year. We've got 3 paint judges, kind of, 2 rules judges, one of them being me, and then Mike as a paint judge is doubling as photographer, videographer. So it's worked out really well. We've done, I think, very good job with the paint scoring. We've had plenty of rules coverage. I've been doing general scorekeeping and stuff. And I haven't felt understaffed, yet we only have 5 people this year instead of the 9 we had working last year. Mm-hmm. So I'm not wanting of those positions, and it's let some of our players enjoy the tournament too, or some of our club members. Yeah, and I think they're having a good time, so I'm pretty happy with it. This year was easier because we're more comfortable with what we're doing. We know where things are going and how they're working, so my stress level's lower. And that lets me do more, maybe.
That helps all of our stress levels. Yeah. So, having done this now 2 years in a row, and having been somebody who's been on the tournament circuit for quite a while in the Northeast, what would be some pieces of advice you might give to another TO who's either already running GTs or maybe thinking of starting one?
Ooh, you really...
How about for the experienced GT? What would you recommend to a TO that maybe you haven't seen at some events?
Get more people on your staff. I see too many tournaments that are trying to be run by one person, and you don't need a huge amount of bodies, but you need people to help you.
What would be the piece of advice for somebody who's thinking, "Oh, that looks like fun to run. I want to do it."
It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's an excessive amount of work. So be prepared.
If you were to give an estimate, of course, we really wanted to have the highest level of not only for organization and whatnot, but also really highest level tables we could do. How many hours do you think, manpower-wise, we have put into these tables?
To the tables or to the tournament?
No, just into the tables.
Into the tables. So we have 36 tables here, and if I had to make a rough guess, I would say it's got to be close to 2,000 hours, maybe more even, somewhere in that range though.
I was thinking that because there's been many nights in the past where we've had 5 people, everybody cranking for 5 or 6 hours, and we've done that.
We've had nights where we've done 5 people for 14 hours. That adds up quick. Plus, I would say on average, not just working on tables, but working on the GT organization in general, I probably spend on average 7 or 8 hours a week all year. Like if you average out over the whole year on this, whether it's, it's silly stuff like filing taxes. That has to get done. But it's keeping up on communications, it's making sure the website's updated, it's making sure the venue is booked well in advance, it's making sure information is out to the players well in advance, it's managing the email list. It's like these are little things.
And this year, adding in catering for the first day, you had lunch provided for everybody this year?
Yeah, right. So dealing with the catering, not really a big deal to get the food in here, but it takes time to set it up, to figure out what you're going to do and what's your budget, and a lot of little details.
Yeah. And, as somebody who, of course, I'm in the club, but I've been to other GTs and I've seen the level of prep that goes into it. I personally have been impressed with your ability to manage all of those little micro pieces and keep them organized. So really,
Thanks.
it wouldn't happen without. I always say I'm not a initiator. I am a completer. So
and Mike is Mike like the rock in the club here for me. I can rely on Mike to get anything done. So I wouldn't be able to do it without Mike either.
But yeah, but if he doesn't tell me to do it, it doesn't happen.
Well,
So it's a tag team.
Mike always tells me his line is, "Give me a deadline. Don't tell me I need it next month. Just tell me the day you need it by, and I'll have it done by then."
I guess that would be a tip for Terranscape's customers as well.
It's funny because part of running a GT and having people with you is understanding how to work with those personalities. Mike likes a deadline. He says, John, tell me I need it by next Friday, and I'll have it by next Friday. And other people, you give them a deadline, and they're like, oh, I don't really think that's a real deadline.
Right.
So you have to motivate people in ways that work for their personalities. And because you're dealing with volunteers, like, nobody's getting paid for this, right? We're all doing this because we love to do it. So I can't withhold anybody's pay if they don't do something on time.
The best pay we get is a discount on the hotel.
Yeah, right. So it's very difficult. You have to work with the different personalities. You have to understand what people's capabilities and skill sets are. And I think we have we really have a great mix of people. We have some very type A people, and we have some very artistic people, and it works because we need all those different things.
And it probably helps to have a forgiving partner at home.
It helps to have at least one of those. A few of us need those, and we do have them, thankfully. They're a big shout out to the wives.
There it is. In fact, his missus was saying that she had thought about getting a Warhammer Widow T-shirt, and then she thought about putting together a Warhammer Orphan T-shirt for her daughter. I'm sorry. And I thought, that's marketable. So perhaps if you see this video and you'd like one of those shirts, we don't have them available yet, but if there was a demand, leave a comment down below, and if there's enough demand, maybe we'll get Kat on that.
Because I'm sure there's plenty of other wives who were left home this weekend.
That's right. Awesome. Well, we're at the almost at the end of round 5. We've got 40 minutes, and then it's off to the prizes. So
tally up the scores, and we'll be good to go. And big conclusion to a great weekend.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thanks, and
thanks, Mike.
We'll catch you later.
All right.
So perhaps you could start us with your name and the army you're playing.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Scott Walmer, and I played High Elves.
And how did you feel the High Elves did against the other opponents today?
Today and overall in the tournament, I thought they had a pretty strong showing. I mean, they were. My army is not the net list. I don't have the Banner of the World Dragon. But what I found was that if I was really tight with the movement phases, I could compete pretty well. And then if I really didn't maximize my opportunities, it made for more challenging games.
What would be the hardest army you faced in terms of Well, I guess I was thinking in terms of race, but it could be in terms of style as well.
I am, as somebody that's learning the game and just getting familiar with being in a GT environment, I really struggled playing vampires. I've never really played a whole lot of vampires. I don't really understand in a movement phase how to handle with that many troops. And then in Game 5, I played a very, very skilled Lizardman player who just, with Skink Cloud, just took all my toys off. And those were both challenging games.
The woes of poison.
Yeah, exactly.
So you were just saying that this is your first GT that you've attended?
Yes.
What's your overall opinion of attending a GT?
It's a lot of fun, actually. I was a little nervous heading into it. It really helped. I got a round 1 opponent who was really personable, really helped to disarm the experience, really helped me to just kind of relax. And that's the biggest takeaway for me, is just to come and have a good time, learn as much as I can, and don't focus so much on the outcome, and it's a great time.
There's plenty of players who could take that advice to heart.
Yeah.
So if you were going to give advice to, because even I struggle from time to time. Go away. So if you were to give maybe a piece of advice for somebody else who hasn't been to a GT, maybe is afraid of going in terms of getting their models painted or the skill level of play, what's some things that you could share with them?
It's as long as you can get some basic colors on them and have enough to bring them here, I say do it. I actually was a little reluctant to come, a little embarrassed. I didn't finish some of my models. And so the night before the tournament, I was trying to do what I could, and it was pretty clear to me I wasn't going to be at a finished product.
What army has ever finished?
Right, yeah, you're never finished. But I just decided it was important to come anyway, and to really try and make a good appearance of it. And this is a great tournament to come to for your first tournament. I mean, the terrain is fantastic, the people are great, the catering is wonderful, great venue. I'd highly recommend it.
Awesome. Well, it's nice to hear you had a good time.
Yeah, cheers.
And hopefully we'll see you back next year.
Absolutely.
All right. Excellent. Thanks a lot, Scott.
Where am I looking? There.
The camera's good. Right at the lens is fine.
Indeed.
Yeah, wherever you feel comfortable.
How are you doing?
If you look into my starry eyes, we're going to have a good interview. So I'm here with fellow Unplugged Jeff. And Jeff...
Fellow Unplugged Jeff?
Well, I don't know.
Unplugged Gamer.
Unplugged Gamer, Jeff. How has it been going?
This is a great interview, Mike. It's been going really, really well.
Jesus. Okay. No. Wait a minute. Let's, you know what?
Are we stopping? We're doing it again?
We're going to do it again.
Keep this in, too.
I shoot multiple takes for myself.
I know.
All right. Here we go. You ready? All right. So I'm here. Wait a minute. Step this way just a little bit.